Hello and welcome to our podcast, Cozy Conversations with the Sister Project. I'm Lauren. And I'm Michelle. And we're so excited you stopped by for a visit. Come on in. Yeah, make yourself at home. We're two Midwestern sisters who love a good old-fashioned conversation and enjoy sharing our life experiences with one another and you. Consider this your one-stop shop for cozy, mindful well-being, along with some entertainment and lots of wheezy laughing. Oh, you bet there'll be a lot of that going around. Our goal is to live our coziest life and inspire you to do the same because the truth is, we think it's good for your mind and your body. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now, let's get cozy. Well, hello there, and welcome back to Cozy Conversations with the Sister Project. I'm your host, Lauren, being joined by my sister and co-host, Michelle.
What up, sis?
Not much.
2 in 1 week here.
Two in 1 week. We are recording twice because I'm out of town next week, and it just is my favorite place to be.
Couldn't be happier.
Behind
I know.
the mic.
Bookend. We did it this week. We started it and we ended it behind the mic.
So before we go into our episode today, a couple things. We wanted to share with you a message, more so a little DM than a review. And this comes by way of one of our listeners. I'll keep the name private, but someone wrote in saying, "Hi, listening to your episode about shopping for a therapist. We recommend Begin with Therapy, hits all the points, best vibes, cannot recommend them enough. Thank you for your honest and authentic content. The sister and mom loves it all." And to that, dear listener, I say thank you for listening and thank you for sharing knowledge on a therapist because, well, first of all, sometimes people want to hold on tight to those.
I've never been that person. Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. And if you're lucky enough to get an appointment, yay. If not,
that's
too
on
bad.
you.
Keep shopping.
The luck's not on your side.
So thank you to your sister, your moms, and you for listening. You guys, we love hearing from you. So if you ever do hear anything on our podcast and you want to chit chat with us, we do our best to respond back to everybody. And so give us a little jingle and let's chat. In other news, mark your calendars. July 18th, we will have our next Asking for a Friend event with our favorite dispensary in all of the land, Curaleaf Dispensaries. And, you know, we wanted to share a little bit more insight on what this event is about. Last week, we shared how fun it is. Because it is fun. It's a good time. I think typically if you gather with a bunch of like-minded people who are all gathering in a space to learn more and talk a little bit about cannabis, you're going to find that you're kind of with your people, you're going to meet some new people, and you might learn something from some fellow cannabis enthusiasts. And Michelle and I ourselves. What's that?
Not might. Definitely.
No, you will. You definitely will. This is the type of event you come to if you have never really tapped your toes in that water, but you're looking to. You join us. You come with your questions. Are you struggling with sleep? Are you struggling, or do you want to not imbibe in a ton of booze this summer and go more what I'm calling Midwest sober, which is like pull back on the booze and eat a gummy.
Totally. Are you looking to like initiate that titanium sheath and you just quite haven't found the way?
You're really selling this.
This is the event for you.
Yes.
Come along and join us.
And being women, and as we get older, we are all talking about all these different changes we go through. And one might be like that glass of wine just doesn't do it for you anymore when you're out with friends. Well, I think I know of something that might do it for you instead.
Got a couple tricks up our sleeve.
We do. So join us. It's a safe space to come, to learn, to be in a fun group with people. And like we mentioned in our last podcast episode, it's a good time. So don't miss out. It is a free event to join. We will have a link available for you soon. So be sure to follow us on Instagram at The Sister Proj and keep your eyes peeled for that link to come. All right. On that note, that wraps up all of our housekeeping for today. We are so grateful and so excited you pressed play on Cozy Convos. Do us a favor. This is a fucking fun and great episode. There's a lot going on in it.
Yep.
Find the copy link and share this with your best friends and the women in your life.
Yes.
I promise they will not be annoyed with you. This is a good one to push on people. All right, you guys, enjoy. Stay cozy. I have something to show you. So excited.
I hope my response is
It is.
equal,
I promise you.
is equal.
It is going to equal my excitement. I guarantee it. I want to thank, I don't know which listener it was. I'm sorry. You know who you are. You wrote in, I can't remember your name or handle, but you wrote in and said, OMG ladies, look what is for sale. And I was at Ulta the other day.
Shut.
And I found orange jelly.
Okay.
I told you. I fucking told you.
Hang on a second.
You guys, I am holding in my hand. If you're not familiar yet with Vacation brand, it's the Vacation line of sunscreen. It's brilliant marketing. It is probably so not clean. What the fuck ever. They now have the Bain de Soliel.
How does it smell? How does it smell?
How does it smell? It's not the exact same, but it is reminiscent.
Damn close.
They did close, but they had to change it. It's not the exact formula. I'm sure they're trademarks and patent. Oh my God. And
it is a great mystery what happened to Bain de Soliel, because remember we tried to call that number and it was basically like, if you're experiencing
cancer
problems,
I know.
Call your doctor.
Says iconic scent. Legendary French Riviera scent is revisited with notes of bergamot, clove, saffron, patchouli, and sandalwood.
Patchouli. Was patchouli in the original?
It kind of reminds me of it.
Because Mom was always in
that.
But
please
patchouli.
Notice a little ASMR.
Yeah, do it.
A little ASMR.
Strangely, that didn't annoy me. And normally I'd want to put my hand through the screen and choke you when you do that. It is a
different smell. Like now that it's on my hand, but it's reminiscent.
Okay.
It's the French Riviera. They got it right.
Okay, fine. Guys, it's a different smell. Can you give me a squirt?
Here, let me
Can
show
you give the listeners what they want?
I won't ASMR, but look at that.
Oh my.
Oh, look at it dripping at the bottom.
Oh, I don't like that at all. Actually, I don't like that. I don't like that actually. Take it back. Take it back.
And then it turns into this beautiful. It goes from balm to oil, just like it says.
Balm to oil.
I mean, look at that.
Oh my God. Run, don't walk. Well, I do as sisters do. I found it at
Ulta. It is broad spectrum. There is SPF, which I feel like is more than what the original. I feel like the OG Bain de Soliel had like 5, SPF 5.
Don't even know if it did.
I don't even know if it did. So yay for SPF. I mean, this probably wouldn't be like my main source of SPF, but for the vibe, it actually will probably be used solely for the scent and the nostalgia of it.
Mia is also going to be very thrilled about this discovery. Yes.
Yeah. I love their line. They have also a perfume. So my scent for the summertime months is Bobbi Brown's Beach. It is like copper tone, like an old school copper tone scent. But I wanted to show you for summertime. But what I was saying was that the Vacation brand has their own like perfume. And it's more coconutty. It's a beautiful scent as well. But I highly recommend Bobbi Brown's Beach. And it's one of those that will last you forever because you just do one spritz because it's strong and you do it just for the summer months.
Yeah.
What is your summertime scent?
Our dead mom's perfume. I'm almost down to the end of the bottle. I don't know what else I don't know what it's called.
I think it's great. Live in the moment and just use it.
And when it's out, and I'm just going to dispose of that broke ass vessel.
See, good for you because I might hold on to it, but
not this one. Not this one.
I have Mom's Coco Mademoiselle, which was another scent of hers. That was, I feel like, later in life. She kind of adopted that one. And what were you going to say?
I have her Salvador Dali vessels with the lips? From her perfume with the lips. Yeah, that was such a good smell too.
One of the coolest vessels for perfume. If you guys are familiar with like old school Salvador Dali, like art.
To that totally.
So anyways, Mom's Mademoiselle Chanel has been like in my vanity, in a drawer, tucked away. And I think because I was still in a grieving process where I wasn't ready to see it regularly or smell it. And about 3 months ago, while cleaning out doing my seasonal clean, I took it out and I'm like, I think it's time. And it was actually right around her 10 or 5-year death anniversary. I took it out and now it sits on my little mirror with all of my other everyday things. And I'll sniff it maybe like once a day. And it's become now, I don't know, I'm just at a place where I feel more comfortable.
Love it. I mean, and it's nice to I am reminded of our late lady every time I put that stuff on my wrist. Our late lady.
May I show you 2 more summertime?
I think late lady might be better than dead mom.
Late lady. Are we changing it? Is it?
No.
I like dead mom.
I like dead mom for the shock value. When
but
you
late
say
lady, but like it sounds like, is she tardy? Like, what time was she supposed to be here?
No, she's dead.
She's never coming. Everyone.
She's actually not going to ever be on time ever because she's
never really
gone.
was, and now for sure she's never going to be.
Don't hold your breath. She's dead.
Michelle, I have 2 more summertime products I would like to share with you and our listener because...
Oh, actually, I do too.
Okay, great.
I have one.
Speaking of Bobbi Brown, I came across this random brand. She was like all over my algorithm. And then I found myself walking past the store. There's a new one on Damon in Bucktown, Wicker Park. Are you familiar with the Jones Road brand?
I am, because I've seen it. I've seen it on TikTok.
I got it.
Show
it's
it to me.
Miracle Balm.
Show it
it's
to
the
me.
Miracle. Look at that. Look at that sexy shine.
So
literally
good.
clenching my butthole. How beautiful is that? Now I know it looks very dark, but I want to show you something. It is actually a lot like you can't really tell there.
It's like creamy with a light shimmer. It doesn't have like an opaque like tint to it.
No, it's not. It could add a little bit of a hue, like a bronzer hue, but it has glitter. I love it for my lips. It's a great lip balm.
Everywhere.
It's Miracle Balm. You can put it wherever the hell you want. Okay, just keep out of
my
anywhere.
heels. On my heels.
That it's not. I don't know how much of a miracle it is,
because I'm going.
At least they'll add some glitter to the crevices.
I'm looking for one.
The smell is lovely. I highly recommend this. They have this Miracle Balm in like 4 different shades. This is the glow you are looking for, you are missing. You could put it on your cheekbones, your nose, under your eyebrows. There's some that are just clear. There's some that are more like luminescent. I think should be in everyone's
blowing
purse.
My mind today.
Look at that. I'm serious. This is just one of those products where, and especially for summer, so I have, which one do I have? Magic Hour, of course. So Jones Road. And then last product I want to show you that's a great Grace Potter song.
This
might be, Magic Hour?
I may have just made that up, but I think it might be the name of her.
I love Magic Hour, best time for photos. Mm-hmm. This might be the only thing that myself and Miss Bethany Frankel will ever like maybe kind of, no, I feel like we do see eye to eye on some things, but like I actually saw her talk about this and I've been using this for years, but just recently she talked about bio oil.
Okay.
This is one of the best oils to have in your vanity. I don't know why I've never shared this before. I've been using
Can you put this on your heels?
I mean, probably, maybe. I mean, you might have to drink it. This helps improve the appearance of stretch marks and scars. Helps with uneven skin tone, aging and dehydrated.
Like you can put it on your whole body and face?
Yes. And I did some reading about this maybe a year ago. Dermatologists are cool with you putting this on your face. And you guys know I only use oils. I don't use lotion except for sunscreen lotion. Very pleasant smell. And it's not too thick, which I use castor oil like straight up on my face, which is very thick. And you need to like keep your hair away from it so it doesn't get coated in the oil too, which wouldn't be a terrible thing. It'll just look greasy. But bio oil for the summer months, for the winter months when it's drier, this should be in everyone's vanity as well.
You know, my friend, good share. You know, my friend Kelly Neiditcher, a few weeks ago, we were walking and I told her, I said, you know, your skin looks fab.
And what's her secret?
Said, castor oil.
Michelle, every day.
Unbelievable. Fine lines gone.
I'm telling you.
Evening out of the skin.
Yes.
Smoothest, like a subtle dew-like texture.
It's holding me off from injections. It's holding me off because I feel like, I don't want to change the look of my face, but there's some curiosity. And with Botox, it does, fizzle out. But I've been using castor oil probably for a year now myself. I follow some Looney Tune on TikTok.
Yeah, I know. I remember.
Who does some other crazy shit.
Don't go there. Intense. It's early.
Totally intense. But she sold me on the castor oil because I have paid big bucks for oils, like from $150 to, well, now with castor oil, I think it's $11.
Yeah.
At Whole Foods. Yeah. You can scent it with like a frankincense, but I think that might have been, I'm accusing that of some of my skin issues.
Okay.
So I've taken it completely out. I'm just using it. I'm raw dogging it with castor. It's also supposed to be
too early for that term.
In the day, year, morning, what's too early?
Raw dogging.
But I am. But something else that I have to tell you guys, and I don't know if this is just because of time or castor oil. After Luna, my eyelashes were shit. I felt like they were short and brittle. They weren't curling well. The baby takes a lot of your nutrients and your glow and health feelings, the healthy look. And after the amount of time I've been using castor oil, I don't know if it's placebo effect, but I can tell you that my eyelashes are back closely to where they were when they were at their finest.
Congratulations. I mean, that right there is a mood booster in itself. I've got one product I'm going to share. And it's nothing new. It's just a main staple in my beauty regimen. And it's the M61. It's their sunscreen.
That's your sunscreen.
It's the Hydro Boost oil-free sunscreen SPF 40 in it. You guys, I put it on every day, 12 months out of the year. I like the way it goes. I like the feeling of, it's not oily. It doesn't leave like a film, and it gets the job done. I'm not frying my face when I'm out in the elements.
You have much more of a matte situation going on with your face, where I like to pile on things but it looks beautiful.
Well, I don't want my skin to look matte. That
not matte. You just have, but it looks beautiful. It always looks. Do you hear Luna?
Oh my God! For a second, I thought Kevin was like getting attacked by a raccoon.
Hyena.
Oh my God!
A friend of mine, Devin, has some of the most beautiful skin, and I see her sometimes. I'm like, you just look. I mean, just beautiful. Sunscreen every fucking single day. I think sunscreen plays a huge role.
It does, and I think you might have a soprano on your hands. Just saying.
Oh, her yodeling. I can't. Bless. All right. I was just watching the news before you and I logged on to Riverside, our trusted podcast platform.
Worship. Who knew?
I mean, we won't go into the details, but this platform has so many more capabilities than Michelle and I were aware of. And you know what? We're not going to beat ourselves up over it.
We all know. We all know.
Let's just put it this way. You guys are going to be seeing a lot more recycled content from us.
Wow. And we have one person to thank about that. We'll get to that in a second.
We will. So I was watching the news when they had one of their like transplant, newscasters, and they're like, we're here at Morton Arboretum in the suburbs of Chicago.
Yeah.
And she had like blasted by cicadas. And listen, we all know Michelle like 2 weeks ago was like, oh my God, it's really phenomenal.
The emergence was fun. Now I'm done.
Well, now they're fucking. So now Michelle is sending me photos of attached cicadas, and it angers me because you can actually see its gonads. That's what they call it in the article that I'm about to share with you.
Okay, let's hear it.
There is a new, it's like, what realm of reality are we living in when the emergence of two broods, which, by the way, fun fact, the last time this exact pair of broods came up to say hello to humans.
Yeah.
The last time that happened was in 1803. And just to put like time on a perspective, Thomas Jefferson was president. And all I'm wondering about is, holy hell, cicadas flying into their wigs.
Wigs. Can you imagine?
Wigs. Because hair like that, and back then.
Yeah, no, that was getting caught.
Those are like Halloween wigs.
Totally. That's like a
straight
nest.
Up.
That's like a fucking
Party
cicada
City
nest.
wig. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So here's the deal. These two broods are so sexually active. And as we know, they're not using any form of protection. They are literally contracting and giving an STD that, and I quote, can turn them into zombie-like forms of themselves. Now, another quote, if I may, it goes like this. This specific STD takes over the male and causes the gonads to be torn from the body. Now, anytime we use the word torn, enjoyable, except for a piece of bread was torn from the loaf. Let's take a moment of silence to just digest the situation that is happening in the Midwest here.
I'm telling you,
it's getting STDs, and then birds eat them, and it turns into hallucinogenic or whatever the fuck.
Hallucinogenics. And I just have to say this: cicadas have pulled the short straw on just every aspect of their life cycle. I mean, they live underground for 17 years. By the time they get to come out, they barely, if they're lucky, they make it to a mate. Okay, because I'm telling you,
that's right. They get whiplashed by windshields and die before
battleground station here. 99%. This is a number I'm just throwing out the stat. Don't quote me, fact check me. From my vantage point, 99% of these things dead before they even find a lover. Okay? Dead before they find a lover.
I feel like that could be the name of a song. Dead before you find a lover.
Now,
I love that.
People have also been talking about cicada piss, and I'm just going to say piss.
Shout out to our listener, Laura.
Okay. Well, I
tuned
got
us into this one.
Well, it happened to me. I got pissed on by a cicada. It was 1000%. The mid-flight cicada dropped what they call cicada rain. Now, the thing is
That's
these guys
unnecessary.
don't eat solids. They're just on a straight liquid diet. So
what are they eating that's a liquid though?
I don't know.
Are they
don't
eating
know.
like for real? What are they eating?
It's a liquid. I think I don't know. I didn't get that far. All I know is that the cicada rain, it's an excess of liquid in their urine. And it's no joke. I was walking with Lindsay and I was like, I just got pissed on by a cicada. It happened.
Where did
in the woods.
And where in your body?
On my head, right? My cheek.
Oh, on your face.
Yeah.
Gross.
Now I will tell you,
Carry a
the
hanky.
woods are still, if you're in the burbs, if you're in the epicenter, if you live in my neighborhood, the woods are the safest place to go to not get mauled by the cicadas because they've got more space and we can just take the trail and go.
I did the walk and I noticed the same thing, Michelle. You've noted here in our notes that they are good for something.
I mean, if we have to find something that they're worth of value, anything.
Podcast content.
Exactly. It's that they have benefits for our regional ecology. They turn the soil, instead of going and getting those companies that come out and pull out the poo turds of the dirt.
Yes.
We've got the cicadas for that.
Okay, that's actually cool.
Also, natural pruning for trees. Now, I don't know if what I'm seeing was based on a recent windstorm or I am noticing lots of branch leaf stems on the ground. And I'm thinking to myself, are these like these egg deliverers? Are they like small saws? Like what is going on there? Anyway.
And I like this one. They return nutrients to the soil through their rotting bodies.
See, silver lining,
again,
guys.
Torn and rotting are two words that I don't like using on a normal basis. And so, unless it's bed rotting and, this is something we will talk about for years to come.
I'm over it. Let's talk about something else. Let's not talk about them.
If you are Chicagoan, you are probably most likely familiar with Malort, which is like a weird, gross.
It's the most disgusting spirit you could ever taste. Point?
But to make it even grosser, people are taking shots of it with a cicada. And to that, I say stupid, dumb. Why?
Is it just because? Is
that Saved by the Bell gif where they're like, idiot. Dumb. It's so stupid.
Why is it just to say I did that?
Michelle, yes.
Okay.
Let's move on. From cicadas to, as Michelle nodded to earlier, we met with our friend Ashley Logan. We've talked about her a couple times on the podcast. We've known her for a while, but she's one of the people actually that played a pivotal role in Michelle and I understanding certain aspects of our business. And it appears she's going to continue to do that for us because we will be working with her again to help us create content. And if you do have a business or an organization that you have to figure out how to map out content creation and posting, you want to talk to Ashley Logan and her team at Yakety Yak. And the thing is, Michelle and I need that. Even we're like 10 years into this plus, and I feel like we still don't have all the tools we need. And just sitting with her and for a half an hour after we actually will be guests on her podcast, Unapologetically Yours. So subscribe to that podcast and be prepared and just listen to all of the things that she's put up so far. But she's just a wealth of knowledge.
She is a wealth of knowledge. She kind of blew but Lauren, I have to say something back to what you were saying really quick before we sing her praises, because I could go on for days. Technology is always changing and it's a fast moving change.
So fast.
And so keeping up with the times is a challenge in itself.
You bring up a really good point because you're right. Like if we do what we know and that we've been doing, so we just keep doing that. But then you have someone who knows more than you about something and is like, oh, use this tool. And you're like, oh my fucking God, I didn't even know it existed. So you're right. We shouldn't beat ourselves up. We do the best we can with what we know. But then you realize there's people, when you find out the different tools out there from people that you feel like are more mentors or whatever, it's so rewarding. It's people like her. She's the type of lady that shares both her stories and her wisdom. And it's very appreciated.
And her humor.
Oh,
she is absolutely hysterical.
Yeah. So we will keep you guys posted on when that episode will be out. But I wanted to move from one topic to another because I wanted to take some time on this. Speaking of women that share their wisdom and that are wiser than us or wiser than you, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
Michelle, you influenced me, and I've been binging, and I've listened to a couple episodes, but I just fell off because I was listening to other things. Wiser Than Me with Julia Louis-Dreyfus. And I recently listened to the Gloria Steinem one, which I know you listened to. And then I also listened to just recently Julie Andrews. And I did that almost as a nod to you. Oh my God.
A true hero.
And another thing about Julia, her intro to her podcast, she almost does like this little 3 to 5 minute vignette on her deep thoughts. It's like Deep Thoughts by Julia. And I was crying while driving the other day when she was talking about how when she was going through breast cancer, and her friends that just showed up, just that, sat with her, didn't say much or did say something. And Julia was like, and if I responded, great. Or if I was unconscious due to all the meds, that was okay too. It was just having their presence. And it was just, I feel very inspired by all women, but of course these older women that she has on and the older women in our life and whatnot.
Because they have so much wisdom to share and they should be the frontliners to what we are consuming. I feel like if you want to learn, if you want to have some insight into what it looks like to have 85, 90 years of road behind you, go listen and talk to a woman who has paved the way, like Julie frickin' Andrews. What a story. But Lauren, hang on a second. I want to go back really quick to the conversation about the girlfriends, because there was one part where she shared how when she was receiving chemo, her girlfriends would come and they would all put a mustache on. Okay. That
reminded me of you.
It reminded me of my girlfriends that I refer to our text thread. And if you've listened here enough, we call ourselves the mushroom heads. Okay, whatever. But we also have joked over the years that when the going gets tough or somebody maybe has a child that's born with a life-threatening disease or some major mom diagnosed with FTD, we would send a text, bring the clown noses. And we would sometimes just send an emoji of the nose. And that was our bat signal to our tribe, to our friends that said, gather the troops. We need to go and raise this person up. And that is the sheer true essence of what it means to be a part of a group or have friends like that, that are there for you no matter what, every step of the way. Couldn't do life without them.
It's beautiful. I love that. Like you said, it's a bat signal. It's all right, we've got to go be there for somebody, prepare.
And it doesn't make you think sometimes, because guys, they're a different animal. They don't reach out in that tribal way, the way us ladies do. And sometimes I wonder why, maybe if there was a little bit more of a shift in that department where they sought this more sensitive kind of group form, holder upper, that would help. That would make life a little bit more palatable.
I know,
for the dudes.
Society, it's just that stigma, man. And I think that there are those that are out there that feel comfortable sharing things and talking about things. I know some of them. And then I know others that are totally opposite end of the spectrum. And, you're lucky if you have a friend that you're able to open up to. Let's just say that, that kind of guy friend where you're like, dude, yeah, my mom, it's hard. Guys, when women go through sick loved ones, I feel there's a different kind of energy surrounding that when men's go through, and I'm talking aging parents, it's hard. But there are those that are a little bit more open about that. And I've had the fortunate opportunity to talk with some of them about that real stuff, which, they're out there. So I feel it's those guys that just kind of either have to be vulnerable as well.
Totally.
And lean into that. Michelle, what I was thinking about the other day, if you were able, and I know you don't on the spot questions,
you're gonna ask a question. Okay.
And I can answer first because I've thought about this. If you were able to have anyone older than you on your podcast and we were to copy off of Julia and do a Wiser Than Me episode for the Sister Project, one of mine, and they have to be living. Let's just be a little realistic. So One of mine would
I'm
be
listening while I look at my books.
Okay, fair enough. For some reason, I really relate to I guess so. Carrie, Sarah Jessica Parker, and not just because of her role on Sex and the City. That's not actually what I relate to. I feel more like most kinship with her. And I just love how she enjoys her life in New York City. I'm obsessed with her fashion. She goes outside of the box. I admire her talking about her aging. She has said, people give her a hard time because she has gotten older. And that is the most wicked thing I think you can say about a human being. Because it is such a privilege to get older, and the lucky ones get older. And unfortunately, there's speaking of stigma, that if you get older and begin to look at, then, oof, that's too bad. And she has said, like, this is my face. I know what I look like. What do you want me to not do? Age?
Mm-hmm.
And she just has been in, the industry for so long. There's just something so interesting about her. And I bet she is filled with wisdom. I really do. And that's why I would
100%.
choose Sarah Jessica Parker.
100%. Being in the industry that she's in, the topics that you've just described, being a woman aging in that industry, along with all of her, for me, with her, the books, like her love for reading. That woman has
that too, Michelle,
pounded it out.
I love it. She is, and there's that aspect of Carrie in Sarah Jessica Parker where Carrie loved also reading like library books. She loves sniffing them, and I get goosebumps thinking about that because I can feel that excitement. And one last thing I wanted to say about her, and I lost it, so we'll just drop that there.
That's okay.
Okay, and what about you? Do you have anyone?
Just thinking about things, this is just off the cuff right now, but sort of inspired by a TikTok that I saw where Meryl Streep, let's talk about her for a second. Just last night I was scrolling through my TikTok and it came up a speech where I think that she was accepting an award. This was the before times. I'm not sure if Trump had been elected yet.
Oh, this is probably her. Was it where she was pretty outspoken about?
Very, very outspoken.
I think it was an Oscar speech.
Okay. And what I admired about that speech in her was, I think that the thing that our country and world needs the most is a woman, a grown ass, wise ass woman who has the language and ability to communicate in a way that gets a message across in a strong, like empowered way, but without shitting and offending everybody in her path.
So like maybe holds a little bit of empathy.
Holds a lot of empathy. And I don't know. I just anyone. I don't know, Lauren. I hate that you put me on the spot with this question.
I think you had a beautiful answer. I think what you're saying is that this goes along the lines of someone older teaching us that empathy matters and that we can't lose that, because once empathy is lost, I feel like then that's the end of humanity. Mm-hmm. And there are people out there that exhibit these characteristics of lack of, and it's very hard. It's a hard pill to swallow, especially when you're like, oh, wow, that person could be the future leader of the free world.
Yeah.
But I remembered what I was going to say to you, and this is something that SJP does, and also older women on TikTok. And we follow a few women, I guess you'd call them like fashion influencers.
Yeah.
And I am obsessed with two types of older women and fashion. The type that just like look chic and cool. They do a lot of layers and they just have a vibe about them.
Mm-hmm.
They look cool. And then the older women, like the ones in their 70s and 80s who wear like fucking orange lipstick and a green hat and tons of texture and tons of print. And you hear it time and time again from these women. Women feel this experience of feeling invisible when they get older. And what these women say that wear these outfits is like, I'm standing out. I'm alive and I don't give a fuck. I want to wear what makes me happy. That's sitting in my closet. And they go over these pieces and they are like ultra vintage or like a random Target find, or their friend found it in Soho. I mean, it's just, and those are the kind of older women I look up to and think like, you are paving a way.
And I love like the confidence in the I don't give a fuck mentality. I am like,
I love it.
Yeah, it's freeing. It's freeing and
so
super
freeing.
inspiring. And something that I kind of been loving leaning into every year I get a little bit older. Literally, like I remember I spent so many years being insecure about, like, I would joke about my saddlebags or, like my body that had no waist or whatever. I was just like and now I'm like, holy crap, like, own it. This is amazing. You did amazing things with it, and just lean into it.
It's just a vessel.
Super empowering.
Yeah, well done. I love that. And to go with that, I think my thing as I've gotten older is I have what I feel passionate about, whether it's a relationship topic, something political. The older I've gotten, the more passionate I've gotten about these things that matter to me. And I feel confident in that as well. I feel less like, oh, is this like taboo to talk about? Or, someone, Chow Amber, who we follow and like, she was talking about how women have a tendency to be like, oh, is this too much information? Like TMI. But like when I was postpartum, like, and then they tell the important things. Her point was this, like the shame that's associated with sharing life experiences so that other fucking women get a clue in before they dive deep into the abyss of the unknown. We should be less ashamed to share these things and be okay with using your wisdom to pass on to others. And that's 100%. Why I think Julia's show is so extraordinary. And I'll leave our listeners with this before we go to reading, watching, listening to. It's something that you can implement right now. Is Julie Andrews, her motto, how lucky are we? Or how lucky am I? And I used it yesterday when like my toddler Luna it was a long day. And I was just at one point, Anthony, she did something funny after like a lot of like cleaning all the shit that comes with a toddler. And I just looked at Anthony and I go, how lucky are we? And it kind of helps flip the script. Well,
that's what it is. I mean, that's like just total, that is a mindful like trick almost.
Totally.
It's like a gratitude reminder that she is able to insert in her everyday life.
Okay. So you guys listen, Michelle and I don't know where we found this one, but I think
I just found it trending on Netflix.
Dancing for the Devil. And here we go again with another cult. And I'm going to be brutally honest about certain aspects of cults. And then there's a lot of empathy I have for the people that have been harmed by this human being. But I just have to say again, no promise of anything in the world could get me to join a cult. I'm over it. It's always the same story. It's like, by the way, this cult's name is 7M, another dumb name like Heaven's Gate. These names, like they got to get a little bit better. That's my first problem is the names, the nomenclatures they give themselves. 7M is the dumbest name. It sounds like a boy band from the early 2000s. And here we go again. Basically, a guy promises young like professional and TikTok content creator dancers a place next to him in heaven. Like that alone would make me run the other way from the
because
cult.
He's a man of God. He's a man.
And that's another thing. A person that comes to this planet and is like, I am God. I am the embodiment. Again, I'm calling
how
like Unsolved Mysteries and Dateline.
But I have so many thoughts because the show had kind of
over it.
There were two things. There were the dancers and then there were the two sisters, the other sisters, that were being
like his wives and mistress.
And they're being sexually abused. And was that
horrible.
Happening?
Yeah,
the
those
other
parts
things
are horrible.
Now, I get why if you were born, I can see in my mind why if you were born into an immigrant family in America, your father picks up and leaves and your mother is a raging alcoholic and is never around. I could see why a vulnerable young sisters might be out looking for something, home, warmth, stability, whatever.
Totally.
Okay, fine. Clear as day. I get
Agreed.
it. Heartbroken for them. The dancer part for me, Miranda, the main story that you're following about the sister of the other girl whose family has been on searching, trying to bring her home.
Back. Yeah.
How did she get so she's gone.
Oh, she's gone. She's a goner.
She's released a
her
statement.
Brain's been complete. I know I saw it. I think if anyone gives their life up to, like, let me put it this way. If you leave your family and you have cut all ties with them because you are now following a new religion or you have found Jesus, and this family, and we have to make sure the family that she left was a very lovely family. And there were no accounts of abuse. It seemed like a very beautiful home. Very fortunate. That's a red motherfucking flag. Like, I'm leaving you guys that you have who I am and why I am, because I found Jesus in this guy who says he's a man of God, and I might have to sleep with him.
And
what?
And on top of it, also being like a seemingly close, loving family, her and her sister were like you and me. I mean, like, they were partners. They were creating content together. They were going places. They were actually starting to make it as sisters. And then that would be like you leaving. And let's do me, because we always say if anyone's getting taken into a cult first, it's going to be me.
I'm going to be asked to leave the cult. They're going to be like, hey, can we have your sister?
And you being like, where is she? All of a sudden, blink, she's gone, and she's not calling. She's not talking. She's barely coming around for the holidays.
Yes,
what?
And there's that. And I told Anthony last night, I'm like, I would be in jail if a cult got a hold of my daughter. The place would be burnt down
to the ground.
It wouldn't be good. Like,
no.
Yeah. And for sure, it just would not. I know that this is what pissed me off the most, is when they were talking to a writer for Rolling Stone. And I'm not quite sure if she's a legal writer or like a cult writer, but she said
she did seem to have some legal knowledge, it seemed.
And one of them was this, and I'm not blaming her. This is just the fucking law. It is not a crime to the act of controlling someone's everyday life is not a crime, she said. I'm like,
okay,
that should in and of itself be a law that is broken.
How about this though?
This is arrest them.
How about this though? This is a tidbit that really chapped my hide.
Is it about the female? Go ahead.
It's about there weren't enough we need more women to come forward and say they were raped. One isn't enough.
Yes.
We need more to build a case. Can somebody explain to me? Somebody explain to me.
She said. So Michelle is getting at the fact that there is a large number of sexual assaults, rape, manipulation taken advantage of throughout this S7M cult. And with the main guy, Robert, and others, he would tell women, it was very like Jeffrey Epstein, you need to now go sleep with that guy.
Yeah. What's
fucking
that?
Gross. Fucking gross. Or I'm going to crack your back, but I'm really going to touch all of your private parts. What is happening? And so these women go to the police. They come together, several of them, and say, we're going to go do this. We're going to file complaints. And they're like, sorry, it's not enough. Can you get one more? I'm like, on what planet are we living?
I don't get that.
One is not enough. One's not enough. That should be it.
And how about the part where it's a family business? So was he
the way you say it.
So was he like, I'd like you to massage my penis, and then you know what, my son needs it. I mean, what are we doing here? And people are just like, we're so lost. That's my
problem here. What is the promise that you're going to jerk off both dad and son? What is this paradise that you're hoping to get to by doing that? Mm-hmm. And what God is asking you to do that? The one girl that was like, I did these things. I didn't think he would hurt me. He's a man of God. No, he's not.
No, he's the devil.
A cult leader.
He's actually the devil.
It's just, I get a little angry and upset with these people because, like you said, I know everyone is looking and seeking things in life. But those kind of behaviors are so red flagging that should be where you're like, wrong guy, I got to find someone different. Like, that's not a good guy. But he manages not only to get these people in his church with a huge cross behind him at the altar, but their money too. So now you have to have sex with him, you have to worship him, and you have to give him your money. What kind of religion is this that you are signing yourself up for?
Like, you're good with that?
Yeah, that's my question. Like, what are we doing here?
Good with that?
Like, you're like, this is it. Heaven, here I come. Like, go to Bali
and really
go take a walk on the beach.
The thing that also is so amazing too in this like digital space where social media and access to everything is out there. Like, how bold. This family just made a documentary to go on the attack to free their child and all of these other victims. And this guy is just as bold as can be, just like the Donald Trump of cult leaders, just like could give two fucks, says whatever he wants, does whatever he wants, and is like, you know what? They think they can hurt me, they can't hurt me. And
Right.
he's preaching this, you know,
like putting it out there and it's on records, on audio.
I'm
I will say
mind
though,
blown.
but I got, goosebumps when they finally found him at like a Chili's and they served him papers.
Yeah.
And these are people who have been trying to serve him. You know, people evade this kind of shit and they finally did it. And they just the amount of
so good.
the rush and the adrenaline they must have gotten from that to finally face him and be like, and now you are going to get fucked.
Yeah.
Like, here are your papers. That had to feel really.
Oh, it did. Well, the
really
one fellow was
good.
like, let's do it again.
I know.
Like,
I think they're probably maybe
again.
like servers now. What is that called when people do that? I don't know, but
I don't know.
Yeah, Michelle, I definitely have to align with what you said. I think you're more susceptible to cult-like tendencies.
I mean, listen, if we're going to have to choose for sake of a conversation. Okay. Honestly, Lauren, I think that I was being vetted to be taken into a cult.
What?
When I was going to see a certain naturopath here.
I think you were totally being groomed a little bit.
I was being groomed and there were I was on like a healing journey and and which I still fully believe in that kind of treatment.
Absolutely.
But what happened was I was noticing strange comments being mentioned by people that were supposed to be treating me medically. And for me, what the straw that broke the camel's back when I actually, against what you believe, was unbreakable and penetratable. I was reading the New York Times. I had brought it in. I was doing my therapies. I was sitting there. And the gal leaned in and said, all of that is lies.
That takes my breath away.
And I said, bye-bye.
Listen, I know we've got to pick and choose our trusted sources of media and news, and that some are definitely, there's agendas, but that is terrifying. And I take back what I said. I'm glad you have proven that you are not susceptible.
True. Listen, I'm actually a pretty tough bitch. I mean,
I'm not saying you're not. I feel like let me plead my case.
Well, I just want to say I could have been a victim of full-blown sexual harassment and abuse from soccer coaches. I have to say, I was and am unpenetrable. The shield and the guard is up, and I will fuck you up if you try and break in.
I agree with you. I completely
Thank you.
Pled your case, and now I take back that what I think would happen now, more or less. I think you and I could be a good mole.
We could, Lauren.
We could be moles. We could be like, we're sisters.
I play the part. Mm-hmm. Hey, coach.
I'm so scared.
Sure. I'll come to your house and chop off your dick.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, there you have it.
Give me some credit.
I do give you credit. I just think that I thought that it could be more likely that they would take you than me. They would kick me out.
You would be a real problem, and I would.
It is.
You'd be a problem.
I wouldn't make it as a whole.
I wouldn't be able to, because I can maintain like a level of
calmness.
I could kind of ride the wave, and while I'm doing that, be like, what's going on here, and do like some undercover. But then that final blow, like if you do one thing, you're out. You're dead. You're out, and I'm going to blow you up.
Yeah.
Boom.
Me, I'd probably get in just physical altercations.
You'd be in jail. They'd burn you at the stake. Which
or I would accidentally burn it down, and then I'm, being
and then you're in even bigger
arson.
trouble, and now it's all on you, and it's not them.
No, it's not. Now, speaking of watching things, I'm sorry, we're moving into the listening territory, which we just chatted about Wiser Than Me. But again, I was just watching the news this morning, and I did not know that Amanda Knox had her very own podcast. And I will be tuning into that this week. I'm super curious what she is chatting about. I didn't realize she's a mom to 2 kids. Mm-hmm. She lives up in the Pacific Northwest, and she just was found guilty for slander libel in the Italian court system for accusing the bar owner of the bar that her and her murdered roommate would frequent of murder way back then.
Oh.
So she has to now fight another guilty verdict. And
I saw a clip where probably promoting what she's doing. And she was like, I am literally going to be known for being attached to the worst thing that's ever happened to me, being a part of that trial and what have you for the rest of my life. And that's a tough pill to swallow.
Today's show peeps were saying like she just mentioned her life is now defending her innocence forever. Tough pill to swallow. So I will keep you posted. Maybe if you want to tune in.
I might actually tune into that one.
Yeah. And let's see how that one goes. All right, Michelle, what are you doing for your cozy, mindful well-being as we wrap up our show?
I'm going to the farmer's market.
Besides evading cults.
All day long, honey. I'm going to the farmer's market and I'm talking to the peeps. I'm talking to the farmers. I'm talking to the growers. There is something so I don't know, connected to having the opportunity and the ability to actually, I don't know, I kind of like where I know where my food comes from. And,
totally.
And I kind of like knowing that the salmon that my family's going to eat this week was plucked out of Lake Huron, So yeah, that feels good to me. That feels cozy. That fills my well-being bucket. So that's what I'm doing these days.
Speaking of that, you influenced me to get both a pork tenderloin and a walleye,
was it walleye?
Walleye fillet last week, and remind me
Country Meats. Jake's Country Meats in Cassopolis.
And I have to tell you that that was some of the best fish and meat. And I barely eat meat, only pork here and there. Unbelievable.
Well, let me inspire you to go back next time and get the whitefish, and I'll share the recipe that I just made. I had 2 big, long, whole half fillets of whitefish, and I baked them for 10 minutes, salt, pepper, olive oil. But in the meantime, I made I guess it was like a piccata with,
what? A piccata?
Like a piccata sauce. Butter, capers, lemon juice, lemon zest.
Yes.
I didn't have any wine, so I used chicken stock, and it was perfectly delicious.
God damn, that sounds good.
And then I took the fish out. I poured the sauce on top of the fish with a little Parmesan, put it back in the oven for 2 minutes. My family, gone. Delicious.
So that's delicious. Another way that I love doing any type of fish, well, like a sockeye, salmon, whitefish of any sort.
Oh yeah. What? How?
Olive oil, salt, pepper, and then almost just a ton of garlic powder and a ton of paprika, not the smoked paprika.
No, that'll ruin a dish.
And I forget which side I do first. Either way, when all is said and done, yes. And then you flip it and you get this beautiful, crusty, crust on top of it. It's delicious.
Yum.
Okay. Yum. So I have been working I'm just in a moment where I'm really working on, do you need to get that?
No, he's dead today. Kevin's going. Go crossing the rainbow bridge
meet his
today.
maker? He should join that cult.
He's crossing the rainbow bridge.
I've been actively working on my mindset and how I think about things and then what comes out of my mouth.
Oh.
Yeah. I just sometimes feel like I get into a slump where I see or I imagine the bad that can happen or the harder aspect of whatever it might be. Like for instance, Luna is waking up at 6 o'clock now. We're going somewhere next week where it will be 2 hours behind. There's a potential for 4 a.m. wake ups. And I'm kind of thinking about it a little bit too much. And I really have a wonderful partner who's you got to flip the mind switch. You got to flip it. And you just got to go with it. And he's absolutely right.
He's right. And exactly. You got to roll with it. And also, you're in the future. That you're not here.
Absolutely. I'm not right there.
You're not here.
Totally.
So you're taking yourself out of the moment now. That's all we have, baby.
I know. And I think that is what my biggest struggle as a mom is worrying about what might happen days from now when it's who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
She wakes up at 4. Here's your fucking iPad. Let me watch Charlie Brown. I'm going back to
Listen, let me tell you something. Hello, exactly. Listen, I'm here to tell you, I do the same thing. I spent the last 4 or 5 weeks of school with, my kids finishing their freshman year, worrying about certain aspects of things. Guess what?
What?
It all worked out fine.
Exactly.
And I literally was waking up in the middle of the night worrying about shit.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah,
it's all fine. Everything worked itself out.
Remember what I used to say to Mia? Worrying is a goddamn waste of time.
It is.
And on that note, you guys,
stay cozy, everybody.
Thank you for joining us for today's cozy conversation. For more of The Sister Project, check us out on Instagram at The Sister Proj and our website, www.thesisterprojectblog.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and maybe even drop us a review. Until next time, stay cozy.